Hi everyone, I found this really cool game played between Daniel Naroditsky with white and Hikaru Nakamura with black. Now it was played on chess.com last February 2021 and it just lasted 17 moves before Danya was forced to resign due to a stunning queen sack. So let's see what happened here. Danya kicks off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the Rory Lopez or Spanish game. a6 kicks the bishop. It drops back to a4. If you take here, by the way, in case you don't know this, you can't win the pawn because then queen d4 comes. You hit both of these ones, so you're winning your pawn back. Black's absolutely fine. So the bishop dropped back here. Now we had g6 played, and this is an offbeat move. You know, you see other things way more commonly there, like knight to f6. But okay, it's blitz chess, you know, you can play different things. But when you do this kind of thing, you're giving white the centre here, which we'll see in a moment. So after bishop's g7, now white gets this move in. Hikaru takes, pawn recaptures, and he strikes with d5. But after this one's taken, Danya has the centre pawn. Now just to show you why e5 wasn't played, looks kind of natural, takes some space. Well, then bishop g4 can come, and there's some uncomfortable pressure on these central pawns. I mean, you already can't castle, or then we take, and you're forced to take with the pawn. If you go with the queen, then you leave the protection here. So instead, say you go bishop e3, defend your centre, well then you can go f6, and you just start undermining everything. Not that pleasant for white. So that's why the pawn didn't kick on, just captured on d5, and now Hikaru doesn't recapture with the queen. He doesn't want to run into knight c3 with tempo here. So instead he drops this knight back. Knight b4 was also possible. We now had castles, and he doesn't even rush to take the pawn. He first goes knight f6, knight c3, now he castles. Danya hits this outpost with his knight, and only now does he capture this pawn with one of his knights here. But white is still better. You know, bishop g5 comes, completes that minor piece development, and because this pawn is giving white space, it's creating outposts for the knights. This one can come to c5. It means white is for choice, and black has this backward c pawn, which could be a problem in future, you know, down the c file here. So bishop b7 was played, comes to the long diagonal. Now knight e4. Good move because it pressures this pinned knight, but also threatens to come in here. So Hikaru goes the natural h6, looking to break that pin, but already actually white could go knight c5 here with a nice advantage. Now best for black is takes, then you take on b7, say queen c8, knight back, and again white's just better. Look at these dominating knights, bad pawn, doubled pawns here. You know, you can really get a squeeze going with white in these kind of positions. But instead, Danya just drops the bishop back here in this position here. Just drop the bishop back. Looks very natural. And now we had queen c8 from Hikaru. He does cover his bishop and potentially looks to activate down this diagonal in future. So knight c5 now came from Danya. Very natural move. And this is where Hikaru now turns on some tactics. So he goes knight to f4 here, unleashing the knight and bishop on this pawn. And so already here, he's threatening to win a pawn, you know, rip open the white king. And if white takes this one, maybe looks kind of natural, you pick up that bishop pair. Well, after the queen recaptures, it's still a bit annoying to defend this pawn. Now you can go f3. If you tried queen f3 though, that wouldn't be any good. Then you can take g5, kick the bishop, check from here. And the key thing is, now you're kicking this knight, then you're picking up this pawn, you know, a line like this. So you have to be a bit careful how you actually defend from this attack. Taking the bishop straight away, not so good. But if you go f3, white's absolutely fine here. Then you've blocked out all the threats. The bishop can tuck back in a moment, and your long-term strategic advantage still persists. But we didn't have f3. Danya blundered here. So he played bishop to g3, and what he's setting up is tactics against Hikaru basically, because now if you take with the knight, well that knight's actually trapped, it's got no retreat squares. So then you can take the bishop, queen takes, queen f3, now you're not defending it anymore, say these come off, best move, and now you're just about to pick up this knight and it can't escape. So that's why you can't take with the knight. If you take with the bishop, Still no good, because then we take the knight, which is defending the bishop. Yes, you get a rook, but this is better for white. 2 minor pieces for the rook and pawn. So none of those are working, but you're not forced to take that g2 pawn with one of the minor pieces. So can you guess what Hikaru played in this position? Maybe I've given it away in the title of this video. So here Hikaru played Queen h3, just a beautiful tactic, and it forced Danya to resign on the spot. So what's going on here? Well, if you capture that queen, this is simply mate in 1. And if you try and ignore that threat, well, you really can't, because you're threatening mate with 2 different pieces. So say you go f3 to block the bishop, well, now we mate using the knight. If you take the knight, now we mate using the bishop. And so the only way to block both threats is to go bishop to e4, but then of course we just take that one. Queen f3 is your next only hope. We take that one, and again, no matter what you do, you're just getting checkmated. So I hope you enjoyed this game. If you want to see another immortal game between Danya Naroditsky and Alireza Firouzja, click here. Thanks for watching, see you soon.